Abraham Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln.
A thing I learned once that now all of your listeners will know now as well. When a conversation naturally dies down and there's a few seconds of silence, someone in the room is thinking of Abraham Lincoln. And now that you know this fact, that person is going to be you. Someone did that to me probably 20 years ago.
Right.
And I've never forgotten it. So now every time there's that comfortable silence, natural silence, Abraham Lincoln, you have to say it out loud and you have to pass the truth. You got to pass it on.
Is that the truth or is that an infection?
Infectious truth? I don't know.
It's a cold open, I tell you what.
Boom. What is
Meme.
You asked a question that I ignored
No, you said Abraham Lincoln.
before that.
I don't know how many more questions we specifically have, but one thing that we have stopped doing that we should do all of the time. What is your recommendations for folks who are coming for the first time?
If you're coming with a partner, bring 2 tents.
2 tents?
Bring more socks than you think you're going to need. The worst thing that has ever happened to me out there is I left a bin full of socks on my bed at home. The worst that has ever happened to me at Burning Man was I ran out of socks halfway through.
Could you not ask for socks? I would have given you a pair.
I'm also out there for 3 weeks, by the way,
but
listeners.
Like, there's a bunch of folks.
I know, but I have a hard... The first several years, I slept in my tent, in my sleeping bag, on the ground, right?
Yep.
And because I'm like, like air mattress. I'm like, the thing is, they always deflate. They're just a pain in the
Why
ass.
not just the ground?
Just sleep on the ground. And
Where all the base lives.
One of my crew lead at the time found that out, and I was doing shift, and I came back to find there was a fully inflated air mattress underneath my sleeping bag that night. I'm like, oh, I'm fine. I can get by. So I don't ask for things I need because I'm fine. Like,
So
I'm
your
not...
recommendations for the newbies is to be totally self-reliant and hope that
No, it's to
people help them.
bring lots of socks.
It's to bring lots of socks so you don't
and
be
a
like
tent for
me.
your partner.
Yeah.
Because it was miserable.
And don't go with your partner. Accurate.
Or go with your partner, but have a separate tent. And realize that your best self is going to change moment to moment, day to day. Mm-hmm. The best thing you are able to do on Tuesday morning is not going to resemble the best thing you're able to do on Thursday night. It is fucking hard out there. It is hard. And that's okay.
That sounds like us.
It does sound like us. It not only sounds like us, in fact, it sounds like the first episode of the 8th season of Accuracy Third Podcast.
Woo.
I don't know. I like the DJ guns, I guess.
I'm trying to move away from the pew, 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 pew.
Yep.
Yeah. Brap.
That's right. Season 8, we now have a soundboard. It's Morning Zoo in here all the time at the Accuracy Third Podcast. Beth!
Why do you have to continuously make this worse?
How are you and those mams doing in the studio? Studio.
God.
Morning drive time with Rex, D-Day, and the Babe.
How come when you put on your DJ voice, you lose all of your mic technique? Normally, you know to like get back when you're going all up and shit. But once you're giving me the pukies, you're all up in the mic, taking it out.
It takes too much concentration to be something that I'm not and have mic technique. Welcome to Accuracy Third. I'm D-Day.
I'm Rex.
And I'm Beth.
And today on Accuracy Third, welcome to 2025. We're recording this all the way back at the end of October in 2024. So we don't actually know right now if we are currently living in a fascist or a near fascist state right now. So that's something to take into consideration, I guess.
Horrifying. Oh, thanks for reminding me, D-Day.
Yep, you're welcome. We are currently 11 days out from the election, which means we're only 2.5 months from finding out who won the presidential election.
Oh, fuck.
Which means it's time for Season 8, Episode 1 of the Accuracy Theory podcast. How are you doing, guys? Beth, welcome back to the studio. Rex, welcome back to the studio.
How am I doing? I was doing great, and then you just bummed me out.
Sorry, recordings need context. So today in the studio, we have our longtime friend and colleague, Mr. Snafu.
Snafu!
What an exciting introduction to a long-term contributor to our project.
Man, that dude might be like the goyest mensch I know.
Oof.
Okay.
Yikes.
He's
Do you
not,
want to take another bite of that?
No, man, he's not of the tribe, but boy, is he a mensch.
But is he that goyish? You're
The menschiest goy I know
there you
sounds
go.
stupid.
Well, I mean, the way you say it sounds like he walked in here in shoes made out of shrimp, like swinging a pork cutlet at you.
Yeah, like a bacon,
I don't give no shits about Trafe. Welcome to Accuracy Third, the only true Jewish podcast about Burning Man.
The kosherest description of our city you'll ever find.
And I found the bialy at 7:30 in A, and I found whitefish at 11:30 in J.
You know, I don't know if maybe I'm just not spending enough time reading the what, when, where, but I feel like there used to be more Jewish stuff in there.
I don't read the what, where, when at all, but there did seem to be more random Jewish stuff happening out on Playa.
And I wonder if that was that there were a lot of Jewish things happening where there was one camp that was like, we're going to advertise all of our Jewish stuff every single time we do it so that the Jews will always know that they can go daven.
Circumcisions for everybody.
Was the primal screaming about circumcision a Jewish event or not?
Not officially.
Yeah.
No, that's really more about America's weird Kellogg's hangover than anything else.
Yeah. You know, graham crackers are pretty good.
They didn't used to be.
Yeah, you weren't allowed to put sugar in them.
No. Well, that might stir your libido.
Mm-hmm. What if someone has a cookie and then jerks off?
Also, granola. Granola used to be inedible.
If any of our listeners would like to start a camp next year called Cookies and Jerk Off, please let us know when your events are. We probably won't appear. That's kind of weird. That's too personal for me.
It would be kind of funny to have a Battle Creek themed theme camp where you just like serve authentic old school Kellogg's food.
And
That would be
enemas.
fun.
Yeah.
You have to sit.
do enemas,
you have
though.
to sit in the enema chair, which is just a Sibian with a hose running up the side of
You
it.
can't do enemas on Playa. You can't deal with
this
that
is
much
this,
water.
this is what you got to do: is you say it's an enema, but then you just blow air up their ass. So you prepare
enema.
them all exactly. You prepare them all for it, and then you just with like a compressor hose go right up their butthole.
I
so
think
we can just rupture colons all over.
Yeah, I don't think Beth's idea is safe. I think you need to spit on that asshole first.
Well, I was
and then
thinking-
blow the spit up their ass. It's just a tiny dollop of enema.
I was thinking lubricant. You just say it's a solid boofing.
Boy, Code Adam sure was going to sit here and listen to us record tonight, and I'm real glad the 8-year-old isn't in the studio right
Oh
now.
yeah, does this not seem 8-year-old appropriate to you?
Right. But what is appropriate for all of us and all of you, dear listeners, is our friend and colleague Snafu.
Oh,
Fuck yeah,
that's a
Snafu.
segue.
Thank you.
That's the kind of segue you learn to do after 8 seasons across 10 years.
Snafu has been a volunteer for Center Camp's production stages for years upon not quite that many years, but it feels like so many years of him volunteering for our project. And he's one of those guys that just, with such a beautiful, jovial attitude, does nothing but work. And communicate with his team and get shit done for like almost the entirety of the event.
Oh my god, he works so fucking hard.
It's nonstop. Dude, you're a theater tech. Imagine being a part of running a theater for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for 1 week.
He is so friendly and personable and task-oriented and
mellifluous.
and put together
Task-oriented.
And well-adjusted that you can know him for years and completely forget his origin story, as I had.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I forget he lives in LA. That's how affable he is.
He is an affable guy. And for once, we had one of our friends in the studio and stayed largely on track.
Because of Snafu.
Yeah, he doesn't have ADHD the way the three of us have ADHD. So we derail him and he pulls us right back within 90 seconds, which was a delight to edit. A point of order. At one point in this episode, D-Day, is ignorant as to what FEMO is. And at that point in the audio, we start looking around the studio to find an example of FEMO. So that's what's happening at that point in the episode that goes completely unexplained during that digression, which was too good for me to cut out because it is germane to a bunch of things that we are speaking about.
Well, let's be honest. FEMO is at least 1/20th of what makes Burning Man happen.
Yeah, and if you're wondering why we were looking around the studio for examples of FEMO, it's because we have strung lots of necklaces and pendants and stuff that we've gotten as gifts across the ceiling of the studio.
So you have
and
to,
a solid
look
chunk
up.
of them are made of FEMO.
Of course, because 1/20th of everything of Burning Man is made of FEMO.
Which our listeners would know already if they ever came in for an interview.
Boy, I like it. We're going to just start guilting them?
Yes. Season 8, motherfuckers. Come on in and tell your stories. We're not running out of audio. We have a glut of it for me to edit for this season that we recorded last season.
We're not running out of audio. We're running out of you.
Thank you, Beth.
Come in and talk to us.
Yeah, you fucking pay pigs. Rex, take it away.
You're misunderstanding the usage of the pay pig. It is not for our guests. Though if you are one of our pay pigs, you can come be a guest and tell us how you earned your disgusting amounts of money. But only if you pay us for the privilege.
And to our Patreon subscribers, thank you, patrons. This is the point in our episode where we fully digress from Burning Man, and only you get to hear the four of us talking about Chuck E. Cheese and Chuck E. Cheese analogs for about 20 minutes.
Look, sometimes you got to have a very serious and in-depth conversation about the Chuck E. Cheese that we had just seen.
Mm-hmm. And
I didn't know they still existed.
the off-brand Chuck E. Cheeses that sometimes you still see dotting your suburban landscape. And then somehow we pivot from that to woods porn and dryer box porn and sidewalk porn photo shoots. So if you are a Patreon subscriber, within a month or two, you will get the full, largely unedited audio of the four of us talking about Burning Man and stuff that is decidedly not Burning Man.
Do you know what this proves to me?
No, never.
Snafu is one of our friends when we were 12. Like, we've been friends for a while, and we figured out that we would have been really great friends when we were 12.
Absolutely.
And I think Snafu is right there in with us with the woods porn, the laundry room, and the Chuck E. Cheese.
Listeners, do you know from woods porn? Is woods porn part of your experience growing up? Tell us about it in the comments.
Everyone, I hope you enjoy this really fun conversation with the three of us and our really talented performer tech friend, Snafu. So, would you like to be Snafu?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Great.
Or I can go with one of the other names that I have since dropped.
What are your old playa names?
My first playa name was Fingers.
If you're not a 1920s gangster, that is terrible.
Fingers.
I mean, that was my first playa name, and then when I
How did you
started...
get fingers?
Not as fun of a story as you're imagining. It's really sadly not. I was helping the camp build, and I sliced my finger on day one.
Whoa. That is pretty fun.
Yeah. But when I started editing fetish porn later in my life, I reclaimed that name and added the name Lawson on the end of it. So
Fingers Lawson. Oh,
that was my editing name
solid.
for the porn
Not bad.
industry.
I was Zach Dremel.
Fingers Lawson.
I did not realize that you had a IMDb.
Nope. Nothing quite so professional. I had a friend who did some things.
Is there an IMDb for porn? There must be.
It's IMDb. Just IMDb pros.
Yeah.
That's a pun, right?
No.
Fuck.
Were you going for like erotic literature?
No, like pros, like professionals.
Then no, that's not a pun at all.
So how did you get Snafu?
Enough people freaked out over minor things, and my response was generally, dude, it's just a snafu. Relax. Because situation normal, all effed up. Like, things break all the time. Just, it's not a problem. It's just a snafu.
Right.
And then, that's a good play name. You should be...
You're just a Snafu.
Yeah.
Better than fingers.
It is.
Much better. And then for a hot second, I was Wolf. Which I'm like...
Oh, honey.
That's generic playa name 132.
Because I have a tattoo because of I had an experience with the ghost of a white wolf.
At Burning Man?
No.
Then leave it.
Right. Nope.
Or don't. You can tell it to the patrons.
Yeah.
Hi, patrons. Thank you, patrons.
It's a very sad story, so I'm not going to say it.
Fair enough. And anything else besides fingers and wolf?
Nope.
And then
Snafu.
Finger wolf.
Finger wolf.
Ranger finger wolf.
It's like,
It's not too late. I'm pretty sure it isn't taken.
Ranger Finger Wolf.
I'm just gonna.
I'll make you a logo.
I'm gonna make like Ranger calls. I'm gonna go to HQ and be like, "Is Ranger Fingerwolf on?" No, he came by camp yesterday. He was the best. He gave you guys so much social capital.
Oh, that is very funny. I hope I get a radio again this year. I'm not even going to be on our band.
Khaki, permission to go direct to Ranger Fingerwolf.
You want a what? There is a camp for that.
With my luck, I've just called out a senior ranger. There's going to be somebody showing up. We heard.
Yes, I am looking for Rex. Is Rex there?
We need that hat back, son.
So, Snafu, when did you start coming to Burning Man?
2011? Question mark.
And how? And I know it's theater. How did you get there?
It wasn't through theater. Actually,
What?
My first 2 years, I was a participant.
Like you just chose this? You woke up one morning and chose violence?
I was dating somebody. And all of her friends did it.
It's
like,
that
we should
kind of
go
theater.
do this thing. I'm like, okay. I used to sketch this little stick figure thing. And I have a jacket for when I'm doing like canvas painting and stuff. And I just use it as my brush wash. And on the back of it, I painted this big stick figure type guy. And some guy came up to me. He's like, hey, bro, are you a burner? And I'm like, do I smoke pot?
Do you want to blaze?
He's like, no, Burning Man, bro. I'm like, what the fuck is Burning Man? I had no idea what the hell it is. Because unless it's right in front of my face, I have no idea. So we went and I had a wonderful time. It was the end of a relationship, and Burning Man kind of put the final nails into that coffin.
Hey, if you want to enter a relationship, this is a great way to do it.
Yeah. Whole new chapter.
Just make sure you come with a second backup tent.
Right.
Did you two leave in separate vehicles?
No. Oh, no.
Oh,
no.
God, you broke up and drove home
No,
together?
we didn't break up. No, we broke. I mean, it was
the end.
It was the end. Yeah.
But the
It
breakup
was the
later.
spark that lit the fire on what had become of the dry tinder.
Yeah,
of
that
your
opening of eyes that sometimes happens. You're like, oh my God, it's so much more than why am I with you?
Yeah.
Why am I treating myself this way?
Once I woke up and my arm was numb underneath someone's head, and I thought to myself, I could just chew it off. And then I was like, wait a minute. I don't have to marry this person. I don't have to do shit.
Oh, chew your arm off.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant her head.
Yeah, I could just chew through her neck.
So you got suckered out by a partner. Mm-hmm. Was this partner already a burner for a long time?
Nope, I'd always wanted to go. All of our friends went.
Oh, so it was brand new when you arrived in 2011 for both you and your partner, where you learned that this was not a continuing relationship.
Yeah, we landed and I had a POS truck, and the taillights
You
were...
can swear.
I know, but
You're practicing well.
I am.
He was just letting us know that you could make purchases right there at his truck. You did not need
Yeah, it
to
was
walk to
total
the front
point
of
of
the store.
sale. I actually tried to, when I brought that truck into an auto dealership to get the resale value, the dude sitting there, he's like, "Oh, well, what kind of vehicle you have?" I'm like, "I have a Ford POS." And he actually wrote down POS. I'm like, no.
Blue book
that's-
value $5,000.
I've never heard of a POS. But we landed, and my brake lights would not turn off.
Oh, that's great. That's solid.
Like, what the hell? Well, first, getting to camp, we camped on Esplanade my first year.
What?
With what camp?
It was the BBC. They don't exist anymore.
What is the BBC?
The
BBC
Bouncy Club.
Oh, adorable.
They had a bouncy castle.
That was what you needed to get on Esplanade in 2011?
Yeah. Yes.
There was this year that they worked really hard to make sure no one cared about Esplanade.
Placement has gone through phases.
And I didn't know you couldn't drive on Esplanade. So it's like 10 o'clock at night. We're just driving on Esplanade. Oh, and everyone's yelling at us. We're like, "Hey, we're going to the
We're here
bird.
too."
We're here at the bird.
Yeah.
And we get there and we start unpacking. And then I'm like, "Oh, the taillights are still on. Get in the car. All the lights are off. The taillights are still on. Turn on, turn off." So, and I'm trying to figure out what the hell am I going to do. She's unloading the truck. She's getting mad at me that I'm not helping set up camp. I'm like, if the battery dies,
We live in a lake bed now.
we're not going to leave. So it started off with a fight. And I'm like, do you not understand what I'm trying to... I ended up
Arriving at night, I assume.
arrived at night. Yep.
Yep.
So I ended up
From the LA area.
just ended up pulling the battery.
Yep.
Solved.
Smart.
But the fight was already ongoing. I'm like, I just... Okay.
How long had you guys been together at this point?
2 years, I think.
Oh, that's so peak blow up your relationship
Yeah.
time.
Yep.
Yeah, that is the finish line of a bad relationship.
Either you need to burn immediately or 5 years in. There's no 2-year take your partner to the burn.
I had no idea what it was. I mean, I'd done my research after we got our tickets, but I'm like, I don't know what this is. But it was one of the best exoduses I've ever had. Exoduses? Exides? We're packing up. We've kind of had our own separate vacations. And
You've already broken up emotionally.
Right. But we're sticking together because
You have a shared vehicle to exit this.
and we had just moved in together.
Damn.
That's great. It's the best way to do it.
So many good choices.
Pressure test. That is a pressure test.
And we're driving towards the Exodus line, and I hear on BMIR, she's like, "Oh, you should hang out at BMIR. Great, here's another song." And I'm like, maybe I don't know. Song ends like, "Exodus line is 8 hours. You don't want to be in that. Come with us." I'm like, we're already in the car. Everything's already packed. I don't know. And another song plays. The guy gets on again. He's like, "Come on, it's 8.5 hours. You don't want to be in that line. You want to hang out with us. We've got bacon."
It's old.
Done.
Whip around, get there. There's like 25 people hanging out. There's a couple grills going. And I'm like, "How can I help?" They're like, "Oh, yeah, you got any grills, any extra food?" Next thing I know, there are 12 grills going in this circle. Everyone has brought all their leftover food and stuff, and I'm on one of the grills, and every once in a while, one of us shot, "The cook's need beer," and like 5 people would run over, and everyone. I'm like, it was the best party I had all week. We all slept on the ground, and we all left, and there was no line the next day. I'm like, that was fucking great.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
That is the
Just
best way to
barbecuing
end
your
this.
cold cuts.
Listeners, pro tip. Exodus line seems long. Go bring your meat to BMIR. I'm sure they want it and appreciate this message from us, their friends at Accuracy Third.
Late bus, we're going to need a Bring Your Meat to BMIR track for this episode, please. Well, not for this episode. You've just heard this episode. For like one of our next episodes.
So that was your first year.
It was my first year.
And did you come back the next year?
I did.
Why?
I don't know.
Inertia can carry this man far.
I will tell you. Yeah, I know exactly why. A little side note to the first year, we had opened up the relationship for the burn.
Oh, you can't break up.
Will fucking kill.
You got to dive into poly.
Friends. If you're like, let's open up the relationship for the burn, just break up. Just break up right now. Just break up. Either you're open or you're not. Don't open up your relationship for Burning Man.
It's a holiday. Fuck someone else, Beth.
Right. I mean, it was my first introduction to that world as well.
God.
Well, no, we had slightly opened things up. In the past, like we had talked about it. There was like I had done a lot of soul searching. Like, would I be okay with this? I had done all the work.
Lovely.
Right?
You've done some emotional work.
Right.
Wonderful.
It was still a death knell of the relationship.
Did either of you open it up at Burning Man?
I got abducted by 4 women from England for a day and a half.
Oh, well.
Nicely done.
Yeah.
That is why I came back to Burning Man the following year.
That's polyamory.
Because one of them bought my ticket.
Oh, that's great.
Look, are you coming back? I'm like, I don't know if I can afford it. She's like, let me buy your ticket.
Yeah, do you understand how cheap buying dollars is when you have euros?
Yeah.
England, do you understand how cheap it used to be to buy dollars with euros?
They don't, because it was always the pound.
It's the pound. They've never gone to the euro.
Oh, well, you still fucked your economy, dummies.
That is adorable.
Yeah.
Bean-eating
That's
assholes.
why I came back the second year, because there were still more mathematical possibilities of 4 people in an RV.
Wait, so
First year, 4. Second year, 8.
let me get a hold on your first year. Your first year, you were at a theme camp on Esplanade.
Yep.
The second year, were you going back with that camp, or are you doing something else?
I went back with that camp, but they had been pushed way into the boonies.
Good for
Yeah,
placement.
bounce house isn't going to last on Esplanade for long.
Oh, one of my favorite things was to, when I would see people having sex in the bounce house, I would turn it off. It was such a good flake on them.
Some people are into suffocation play, though.
Yeah, well, I'm first aid trained.
Perfect. And that's how you become their unicorn.
Right?
So you came back to this now Boonies theme camp. And how was your second year?
Completely different. And now for something completely different. I came solo in more ways than one. I kept finding myself at the temple, even though I had nothing to offer the temple. I had gotten rid of everything the year before, all my big whatever. But I kept finding myself at the temple. And every time I'd be there, I'm like, why am I here? I have nothing to why am I? And every time I thought that to myself, someone would sit down next to me on the verge of an implosion. And I would, are you okay? And they would collapse into me and weep and vomit forth their deepest, darkest.
Someone has always been a ranger.
Right. That happened 4 times. And every time I asked somebody, like, I know the most intimate, darkest, traumatic experiences of these 4 people. I don't know any of their names. I never got their names. And I'm like, that's what this year is? Okay. That's what this year is. I am an emotional tuning fork. Cool.
You know, we've got this whole team that goes out and guardians is the temple, keep people from climbing and smoking with cigarettes. But we don't have, like, a trauma sponge team. That could be an entire volunteer department.
That's what I
Trauma
thought.
eaters.
That's what I thought Temple Guardians was.
Some of them are.
I'm sure some of them are, but
Right?
that's not part of the
That is
job
not their
description.
role.
I didn't know that when I volunteered for them the following year. And my roles were to walk around at noon
Tell
for
people
4
not
hours.
to climb stuff. And-
Like, this is not what I thought it was. And that's on me, not on them.
no, it's just you were desperately trying to find Ranger before you knew Ranger.
Right.
So you went that year with your camp. So the next year, did you camp at that same camp, or did you switch to the Temple Guardians? Or
Oh, the 3rd year?
yeah.
The 3rd year, I wasn't going to go.
Oh yeah, we're all not going to go our 3rd year.
Well, I didn't have the money.
Of course,
I couldn't afford it. And I'm like,
It is an expensive hobby.
For folks that do not know yet, because we're terrible at introducing people, Snafu is a dear friend and colleague who is an LA-based theater artist, so never has the money to go.
Going to theater, they said, it's a glamorous life.
Jesus Christ, who were they?
Newspaper editors.
Mimes.
Newsreels from the 1940s.
You'll love sunny Los Angeles.
The theater is vibrant. And the showgirls are wowzers.
Which is to say that Snafu is one of our dear friends that you would never expect to be able to spend thousands of dollars to go to this stupid fucking thing.
Read some Bukowski. Go to L.A., they said.
I was managing a theater. It had 5 venues in it. And there's the Fringe Festival that happens.
Yes.
Just hundreds of shows over 30 different venues. And I'm running a theater that has 5 of those venues. So we had a stage manager for each one of those spaces. And I was donating the $10 I had to some art project I thought was cool. I forget the name of it. It was the umbrellas that went through the dude, and the umbrellas would open and close. It was like this weird...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of Pete Hudson's
Yeah,
stroboscopic pieces.
I loved it.
There's a new one coming this year.
Yes,
Oh,
there is.
awesome. And I was giving him the $10, $15, whatever I had. And one of my stage manager walks by and goes, "Oh, bro, you got a Burning Man, bro?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know. I can't afford it." He said, "Would you work it?" I didn't even ask what I'd be doing. Like, yeah, I'd work it. I could have been vacuuming the playa 4 times a day. I'm like, I want to go
Everyone does
back,
at least once.
You still could be vacuuming the playa 4 times a day.
right? Like, I wanted to go back. I didn't have a community anymore because, that camp had splintered and gone all over the world. And like, sure, yeah, why not? And hooked me up. And it was late July when I got
this is,
brought on board.
Deep into it. What year was that?
13. Yeah. So I started stage managing at the stages. That's when I started volunteering for the Man.
And then how long was it until you were suckered into management?
Next year.
Yeah, right. Like 5 years later? It was 17 or 18. Dates mean nothing to me. I don't remember. It was 17 or 18. The first year we did it.
I think it must have been 17 because we had 3 good years of you before everything went south.
Yeah. Before I really got cocky with power.
So that was you that did that lab leak.
Right. Exactly.
The hole, we call it.
So what about volunteering made you excited to do leadership? Like, why, after all of this garbage, did you want to help more people do it?
I was lied to.
Yeah, fair.
A dear friend of mine who was the crew lead said, "Can you do it for a year? I have to take a year off." And it was me and someone else. Mm-hmm. I'm like, "I'll do it, but you're coming back, right?" "Totally coming back." "You're coming back, right?" "Totally coming back." And then the next year, they immediately jumped on the baby train, and we haven't seen them since.
Stop having children.
No. You only have to take 1 year off when you have a kid. Right? You take 1 year off. You stay married another year. You get divorced. You still have a kid. You go to Burning Man. I'm going to write a pamphlet. How to go to Burning Man, it's called.
Bring 2 tents.
You want to make a zine? Let's make a zine.
Yeah, this is my biggest advice I give to new burners. So I'm like, "You going with a partner?" "Yeah." "Bring 2 tents and more socks than you think you'll need." Those are... "Oh, no, we're fine." I'm like, "You can put your stuff in the other tent."
No, the other tent's just for the socks.
There's going to be that one day that you're not even in a fight. You're just like, "I just need to sleep alone.
I just hate you.
No one touch me. No one, just don't even look. I just need to sleep by myself right now."
I just need to be in a tent where the only farts I'm smelling are mine.
Right? Like,
Those Kodiak tents, man, they keep a lot in.
And I'm sorry to just give this away. You obviously love your crew and team and are great at stepping into a position where you're helping them be out on playa. When did you know that was the thing you wanted to do?
well, it's just wherever I fit best on a team. Like, if I fit best on my team by sweeping the stage 5 times a day, that's what I would do. Like, I don't want leadership. I don't need leadership, but I'm good at it, and it's what the team needs. 100%. I am actively looking for my replacement every year, not because I'm burnt out, but because I'm not burnt out.
And also the org tells us we need to be doing that all the time.
Like, I'm a huge advocate of cross-training.
Yeah.
Like, anyone you want to learn how to do this? You want my job? Let's talk about it. I have no ego attached to it. I've seen managers who have been around for 10, 15 years, and they are so egomaniacal.
It's not healthy.
The power's gotten to your head, like, it's just burning.
And even if you don't view yourself that way, being in that position that long makes other people view you in
100%.
that way.
Yeah.
And like, I couldn't fucking do it for my 10th year. It was too much. Like, if I'm not entirely in control of myself one day and I pissily snap at someone, like, now that's a thing. I'm not just a guy.
Well, you were becoming an asshole.
I absolutely was done.
Yeah,
but that-
I was so done.
Too long.
Honestly, that had nothing to do with the volunteer role.
Oh, okay. Just a convenient excuse.
Look, I'm a feeder.
So, yeah, I have the qualities that need, because during the event, I'm holding space for my people. I'm rangering them. I'm making sure that they're safe and they're happy. And it's, if you need to take the day off because you did too much or you're still on whatever you did and you need to swap shifts, it's only fucking Burning Man. Mm-hmm. Like, we live in a mandala for 1 week. Let's not be precious about it.
You've got the absolute number one quality for successful leadership at Burning Man.
I don't want it.
You don't want it.
Yeah, it's awful.
It's that thing that drives people to climb ladders and seek power. Just makes no goddamn sense at Burning Man. The structure isn't there to reward it.
No, the only things I want to climb at Burning Man is the car spike.
Yes.
And the lighthouse and all the fun stuff out there.
Yeah, what's your best climb at Burning Man?
The best the oak tree.
What was the oak tree?
The big maybe it was a
tree
maple
of Tenere?
tree. Yeah.
The one with
They let
all
you
the
fucking
LED
climb that?
Yeah, it was
We got turned away by fucking French people.
It was climbable. It was climbable.
Oh, I saw people in the branches. They just didn't let anyone go up.
Like-
They were like, no, this is for, how do you say, us?
Oh, I didn't. They must have not seen me, or it was early enough in the week, and I'm like, because I love climbing trees,
Right.
And I'm just like, this is fucking magic.
It was obviously designed for it.
Yeah. It was I think that's probably my favorite piece of art I've ever seen out there. Because it's so simple and so complicated, and it was just gorgeous.
Yeah, so fully realized. It was also the funniest one to see fail. Like, because it was so perfect, but every so often, like, one leaf would, like, pixel out. and the failure was so specifically high tech. It wasn't
Right.
like one brown leaf amongst all the green ones.
is
It was
red.
one flashing.
Roving. Blue, purple, gone.
Oh, just like autumn in New England.
What is your least favorite piece of art that you've seen out
Oh,
there?
fuck yeah. Or just one you didn't like.
I don't know, because I don't pay attention to them.
No, you never had one.
Yeah.
There's some of those that you're
make you
just
go,
like,
"Oh."
I don't feel like going over there.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, the truly bad art is practically invisible.
Yeah.
It's the massive failures where it's not bad art. It is just like some sort of either artistic or logistical tragedy.
Did you do that big giant box that said opening soon? This is pre-pandemic.
I remember
I feel
that.
like that
It's
was
like-
2017.
That was the
Maybe.
mind maze or something?
And
Yeah.
and there were all these screens, and there was one door with a keypad lock on it. And you had to watch the screens to figure out what the code was. And there's all this construction noise coming from. So you had to do all this puzzle work to get in this door. You would get inside the door, and you'd close the door, and it was this, God, I don't, like 100 feet by 50 feet, big giant rectangle box at like 12 to 20 feet high. Bare plywood. And you'd get inside. Now you're in this hallway. And there's all these silly safety posters that go around, and you're walking around this hallway around the inside perimeter of this box. You're hearing all this construction noise. Guy go, hey, get the video. And then there's a set of stairs with safety vests and hard hats. Like, you must put these on before you climb these stairs. And you would climb the stairs, and the whole inside of it was just wide open with a single speaker. No people. And I'm like, this is the most genius thing.
Yeah.
I love this. Some people were pissed. But then you could stand on the parapet around it and just like watch. People are like, how'd you get in there? I'm like, you got to figure it out. It's worth it, though. Figure it out. It's so worth it. Oh, I love the stuff that's just messing with people. You do all this work, and then it's a pit with a speaker broadcasting construction noises.
It's art. Sounds like art to me.
I fucking loved it so much.
That's so familiar that I was either like...
We've talked about it on the podcast from someone saying it was one of their favorite pieces of art that they saw out on Playa.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah?
I loved it.
It's just the opposite.
So maybe I didn't go into it.
I think we have a collective shared memory that we're creating a Burning Man for all of us.
I certainly have a collection of shredded memories. That first year that you went, aside from a bevy of British beauties,
Give me a second. Wait, give me a second. Okay, I'm back.
what was there something that caught you, something that got under your skin? Did you know right away that this was your place?
No, but I leaned into it. Like on Wednesday night, which has become my tradition, I take a pocket full of hallucinogens and I do a solo overnight trip out into deep Playa, leave everybody back, so that place that you can see the entire city in your peripheral vision, and all the wumps are kind of blending into one. And it was at the end of that, and I was just walking back, and I was a smoker at the time, and I go up to this one guy's like 10 o'clock side. He's up, he's watching the dawn break, and I'm like, how are you? He's like, I'm good. How are you? I'm like, I'm good. He's like, do you want some whiskey? I'm like, sure. And I'm rolling a cigarette. Do you want one? He's like, yeah, absolutely. And we're just chatting a little bit about this, that, and the other thing. And he's like, I think you've got it. How many years is this for you? I go, this is my first year. He goes, you found it early. Good on you, mate. And I didn't even know what it was, but I'm like, I just leaned into whatever the experience was. Like, I didn't have a big epiphany moment.
Are you sure? Because that sounded like one.
Well, like,
sometimes we externalize our epiphanies. In fact, isn't that literally what epiphany is? Isn't that when that up there comes down and says, you've got it, mate.
yeah.
You got it early.
But it's not that, oh, I finally understand that we are all one consciousness. I didn't have that.
It's a lot more hallucinogens.
Right. I didn't have that inward thought. I guess just leaned into everything. The hallucinogens helped. And it's funny. I've been going for 12, 13 years, however the math works out. And it's becoming shorter and shorter and shorter. Now it's within 24 hours. The life I had in LA becomes a dream I had once. Like everything just lets go. That, call it immediacy, call it whatever, but everything before, even if I have to log on for a work meeting or something in the middle of the event, as soon as I log off, what did I do oh, right, I had that meeting with, what's her name? Everything in my year-long life becomes a dream I had. And when I get back to LA, everything at Burning Man becomes a dream I had. I like that separation.
I definitely can reflect that. There's long been this sense that last year at Burning Man was last week.
Sometimes, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, you asked me what year a certain thing was. I'm like, I have no idea. Well, what did the temple look like that year? I'm like, I don't know.
It changes in the liminal space is the thing.
Right.
But yeah, there's definitely there's Burning Man where I remember thousands of Burning Man stories. and there's outside of Burning Man, where I've got like 3.
Speaking of Burning Man stories, I want to request a specific Burning Man story that I know Snafu has. Can you talk about when you met?
It was after one of my all-night hallucinogen trips.
Oh, wow. Excellent.
It makes it all the better.
And I'm walking back, and I just see this dude in street clothes wearing a Red Sox hat. I grew up in Boston. And I'm like, nice hat. He's like, thanks. And we just had this conversation. I'm like, what's your name? He goes, Grover. And in my head, I'm like, that's a cool playa name.
That's a great playa name.
Great playa name.
Yeah.
I'm whatever I was called that year. I don't think I was Finger still. Because that only lasted as...
Mandala Wolf.
Yeah. Oh, someone tried to call me like Big Papa Earth Wolf. I'm like, I am
my
not.
God.
That is no.
Yeah, Big Earth or Papa Wolf.
You know those.
That is an assault on me.
You know those guys who are like, I'm great at telling what people's playa names should be. Let me stare into your eyes.
Oh, yeah.
I will name you, and I name you.
Agate.
Right? It's either something with like 14 names or
Yeah.
cranberry sauce. What?
Yeah, no one's like frenulum, though.
Frenulum is a good playa name.
Thank you, I just thought of it. Made that word up.
And we just had a really long conversation about this is a perfect society, and I just think this is the way life should be. And we just had this really great, simple conversation. When I got back, I was probably in a doctor's office because I was reading Newsweek.
Either that or getting your oil changed.
Right. And he had written an article, Grover Nordquist and Burning Man. I'm like, that was the fucking dude. Holy shit. And then on our stage, the year after and for several years following, he would speak on our stage, which really pissed off the woman that had to book him because she's as anarchistic as it gets.
And he's a prick.
But it's a platform for all, and the deal was you have to give a Q&A. You have to have a dialogue. And
Grover, I have a question. How do any of the theory of change of politics that you espouse have anything to do with what you think is good here?
Ooh. Follow-up question, Grover. Is this near or far?
Near. But I mean, I've had long conversations with him since then, only at Burning Man, and I'm like, I respect the hell out of him because he does not belittle the questioner. He will actually answer the question and create a dialogue with respect. So I've said, I disagree with everything you fucking stand for, but you come at people with respect and you engage in a dialogue, and that's okay in my book. I think your view of things would fuck everything over, and we should never do it. But I appreciate the opportunity to be able to talk to you about that as adults.
In your subsequent interactions with him, did you mention the conversation you had? Did he remember?
It had been a few years. He was like, sure, if you say so.
I don't know, man. I was on so much 2CB.
Right? Because it was, 7 in the morning.
Wait, were you the one that was like a sentient ball cap? Because, by the way, this year my playa name is Nover Grorquist, please.
I'm Nover Grorquist on the radio. Nover Grorquist. That's fucking impossible.
Right?
I'm shocked you did it that well that 2 times in a row.
I have had education experience. Doesn't that motherfucker understand that the cost of the ticket is your taxes for the year?
Is there anything funnier than mispronouncing elocution?
I don't think so. It was really hard to do. But I'm going to cut that pause out for the episode itself.
So, like Grover Norquist, that's lovely. Do you have any other experiences of running into, because we haven't made it clear because we never introduce people.
We did it.
We did.
We did.
Yeah.
I believe the question Beth is trying to ask is there anyone else at Burning Man that you could have stabbed but chose not to?
Yes.
Cool.
The answer
Moving
to
on.
that question is yes. My lawyer has told me only answer the question that was asked. The answer is yes.
That's right. A good lawyer.
So, next question. What is the most fun you've had with someone who's come up on stage unexpectedly?
Oh.
Well, there was this time that Grover Norquist was on a lot of 2CB.
Well, there are these three women from England. Yeah, there's sometimes that artists do not show up for their scheduled time, or they show up on Thursday for their Tuesday night set. And
it was a tea day, mate.
yeah, you're a little right. Yeah, you got 4 of the letters correct. 5 of the letters correct, because that's how that works. So sometimes we want our stage to be 24/7.
Yeah.
So if someone doesn't show up, we try to pool the audience. Hey, do you want to do anything? Just come on up. You can do whatever you want.
Can anyone ham bone?
Right. And if they don't, then one of us has to do it. And I got into this habit of telling true stories about myself using gibberish. And then the audience had to guess what I was talking about.
Kind of dark.
And then this person jumped up and we had this 20-minute conversation in gibberish. It was so interesting. And we had connected on this weird level. And I don't think either one of us knew what we were talking about. We were just feeding off each other's emotion, and it became a fight at one point, and then we made up, and then we shook hands, and then we had a business deal, and I think I agreed to something that I'm not quite sure of.
Sounds like 2 people have taken an acting class.
I mean,
Right.
it sounds like people who are healthy aren't improvisers.
And it's just, I don't know.
That's adorable.
It was adorable. I don't know if you could call it fun.
It
Was
sounds like you
there
had fun.
a show on one of your stages so you're like, what the fuck is happening?
Oh,
Like,
yes.
how is there any way we can end this? Is this dangerous to myself or
I
others?
really hope he comes back. There is an artist called Shred.
Shred.
And he is a old punk rocker that, because we have a lot of artists who are singer-songwriters who come up and they write about a girl that they met last year at Burning Man, but she wasn't a girl, she was the wind. And we have fun jazz and spoken word and poetry and all this other stuff. And then there's Shred, who brings his own speaker stacks, and he shows up completely drunk. Like your first, I always, when I have to do the schedule, I always put the new stage manager the first year on Shred. It's our version of hazing. Because the first time you see him, it is the worst thing you've ever seen. He never gets through a punk song, and they're like a minute and a half. He never gets all the way through it before he stops. He falls down drunk. My first year seeing this guy, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? He would tell a story that is completely unintelligible because it's just, okay, I'm going to do another song. It's, okay. And then he would just play half a song, go into some weird story. The stage crew would try to escort him off. He would fire his drummer, get into a fight with his producer, and and I'm like, what the hell is going on? This is a shit show. And the very next year, it's the same exact show. It is the most genius piece of guerrilla theater.
It's amazing.
Because the act before this one year, there's like this group of like older blue hairs, they're like, oh, we're seeing those singer-songwriters. Oh, this is very sweet. And they're sitting in the front row. And then all these people, all in black, all in leather, all these punks show up and kind of sit around them. And you can kind of watch them get a little nervous. And then Shred comes out and he's just screaming unintelligibly into the mic and he's falling down drunk. And we always lay bets. I'm like, how long before those people leave? And they look uncomfortably around and they're like, you want to go? Okay. And they get up and they leave. It's genius. The first time I ever met him, I was standing in the booth with another crew member, and he goes up to the crew member and goes, hey, I'm Shred. Okay. I'm performing on Friday. Okay. My name is on the board. Okay, we'll see you Friday. No, man, you don't understand. I'm Shred. My name is on the board.
Yeah.
Okay. No, man. Look, I'm Shred. Okay? I'm Shred. Me. Shred. Me. Shred. My name is on the board. His legal name had been written on the board instead of Shred. And he did not want to, when he shows up on Playa, he does not break character.
Right.
He is Shred. And he will not break character unless it's absolutely necessary. And he just, it was 5 minutes of like, no, man, my name. I'm like, just show us. It's like, oh, we'll take care of that right away, sir. Okay, cool, thanks, because I'm Shred. Like, yep, Friday.
Third base.
Have you seen him break character?
I made him break character once.
How did you
Because I
manage?
have become the crew member that chases him off the stage.
Of course you have.
And we did it one too many times. And we're like, come on, it's time to go. And he kind of leans in and goes, the bit's over. The bit's over. We're like, okay, cool. Sorry. He is delightful. He is so delightful and just makes people off kilter just interacting with him. And I think it's genius. It's the dark side of Burning Man. It's the Thunderdome side of Burning Man. It's that loving snark.
I so badly want to catch his performance because I'm so intimately familiar with his source material.
So Snafu has been in what is now Center Camp Canopy, just like hanging out as a manager a lot of time. What have you noticed that you're like, oh, that was weird or silly or sad or someone got injured?
Always digging for the injuries.
I love injuries.
There was this is a two story about two different things.
Okay.
Way out in Deep Playa one year, there was this really intricate mechanism someone had built out of wood. And it looked kind of like one of those bingo wheels. Mm-hmm. And you'd turn this crank, and then all these gears would slowly turn, and the sign said, turn 50 times. Right? Because then there was a little door and a patch would come out, like the end of the world.
Here there be dragon.
Yeah, the dragon patch for the end of the world. Yeah. And I had noticed that the door was broken off it, so you could just reach in and grab one. But I'm like, no, someone spent all the time doing it. So I'm sitting there cranking it, and there's this old dude just come. I do not say that with any sort of disrespect. He was an older gentleman. And he's standing there watching me. He's like, the door is broken. You can just reach in and grab one. I'm like, yeah, but someone spent all the time doing this. Like, the price of entry is turning this crank 50 times. And he started tearing up. I'm like, what? He's like, this is my piece. Oh. Thank you. I'm like, I'm sorry someone broke it, but I'm going to do the work. Because it's only 50 times. Like, it's... parallel story to that. In Center Camp, someone had built one of those claw machines.
I remember that claw machine.
And there were eggs.
I know where the story is going.
And there were eggs in the claw machine that was a piece of swag. Burning Man swag. Mm-hmm. And you could and then all the empty eggs were dropped in this bucket. So any participant could drop any swag in there that maybe they didn't like or they brought for their gifting purposes or what have you. And it was a really cool idea until someone decided to take one of those empty eggs, defecate into it, and put it back into the claw machine.
I give unto you the gift of my body.
Yeah.
I made this for you. And now it's yours.
He called the poop defecate.
And then they closed that thing off.
It was so beautifully made.
It was so good.
Like
it
it's a
was
biohazard.
Fun, and it was a way to get rid of that shitty thing that someone gave you that you don't quite want to throw. The white elephant. I call it the white elephant swag.
Uh-huh.
By the way, I get a bunch of swag that I keep in my pocket that is legitimately for get away from me swag.
Get away from me swag?
I hate this. Here, this is for you. Gone. Like, get away
You
from
mean your moop bag?
No, it's got a kind of look like a thing someone intended. But you know your Fimo fucking Burning Man necklace, that was given to a man to get away from me.
Fimo?
FEMA.
It's pronounced FEMA. And it wasn't that
correct.
bad last year. We didn't call FEMA.
Those were bracelets.
Oh, we should all get FEMA bracelets. I survived the 2023 FEMA outbreak incident.
DJ, do you not know FEMO?
Fear enough man overboard?
It's kind of stupid. It's like half of the shit up here is Fimo.
Oh my God, you have a Chuck E. Cheese one?
All the way over there on the left side, I think that might be FEMO. It's it's like Sculpey. It's for babies
that shit.
to
Yeah.
model and bake with. Yeah.
Okay. So off-brand Sculpey.
It's what old elbow pot pipes, like the brass pot pipes, used to have down their center to keep from burning your finger.
I remember.
Yeah.
The Chuck E. Cheese thing. Somebody in their swag giving out gave that to me, and they were like, I didn't make this, but I thought you'd want it. And I was just like, I do. I never won an award at Chuck E. Cheese before.
Who doesn't want a Chuck E. Cheese bronze medal on a big old lanyard?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I'm a birthday star.
So what has been your darkest moment on Playa?
Nighttime.
Nice.
You're both assholes.
Yeah.
That dark night of the soul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That every year I've got one. This was more sad than dark. My first year as a team lead, the event ended, the stage closed, and I just wept because I realized I had not gone to Burning Man. Ooh. I went to Working Man the whole time.
Yeah.
And I realized, because it was my first year, I got to make sure everyone's, I was taking care of everyone else. And just because, I'm trying to, you trusted me with this position that I didn't ask for. And I'm going to prove that you put your faith in the right person. And then it ended on, and I just got so sad because I didn't do the Wednesday night thing that year.
Right.
I had not once gone to Burning Man. Not once for the whole week. That wasn't really a dark night of the soul.
But it was a low point for sure.
But it was definitely a low point.
And a lesson learned. I assume
Very
we've
much
not
so.
made this mistake again.
Nope. It's still somewhat infrequent that the next day I go up to friends and colleagues and go, I went to Burning Man last night. So it's still infrequent, but it's not a rare occasion anymore.
Well, speaking of how much you beat yourself up with work, you have recently taken on another volunteer role. You've joined another team.
Oh, rangering?
Yeah. What
Yeah.
drew you to rangering?
Why the hell, when you're working so hard for so many people, are you like, you know what I want to do during Burning Man is like walk around and just be someone who de-escalates shit?
Well, that third year when I thought that that's what Temple Guardians were doing, were the emotional support burners. I thought that's what that was. I'm like, that's not right. But I still had that need because I still remember how good helping strangers felt. Especially in those dark, because I've had some very dark life experiences that Burning Man helps me let go of. So I thought that that's what Temple Guardians was, but it wasn't. They do a very invaluable service. It's just not what I assumed it was. So I wanted to go and find the thing that was, and rangering was close to that, and I tried it out, and I'm like, yeah. But also, if I do it early enough in the week, it gives me an excuse to walk around the city and see stuff that I want to do when I'm not on shift.
Sure.
And I'm like, oh, I saw this really good thing. We should go do this really cool thing, because you're not going to do everything. I don't know.
Obviously.
I just like the power of having 2 radios
Makes me feel nuts in
and
my head.
and 2 laminates. Going, yeah, I'm so important. I got 2 laminates. Meh.
Have you seen anything really wild whilst rangering? I know you can't give
No.
like, details.
No, it's
You've
all
had
been.
just great rangering, no issues.
It's your normal de-escalation stuff, but nothing catastrophic, nothing that was worth writing home about if we were allowed to do such things. I even got to ranger at the Afrika burn. That was interesting.
Oh, yeah. Why
Tell us
don't
about
tell
that.
us everything about Afrika Burn?
I started an exchange program between my crew and a crew in Afrika burn. So every year we send them one of our teammates and they send us one of their teammates. I got to go first because I've done all the work to make it happen. And then their crew lead came out. And this year, one of our other teammates went out, and while I was out there, I'm like, I'm going to try rangering with these guys, because it's kind of how I get acclimated to the city and I get my bearings. Now I know where everything is, and I know how to get to places. Very kind of culture shocky, because first they wear orange, not khaki, because khaki is reminiscent of the different
Oppressor?
military, the different
Yeah.
military factions and the
in
different
South
things like that.
Africa, you don't
Yeah.
say.
Yeah. But, it's like, wearing red in certain parts of Los Angeles in the 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, honestly,
Red or blue.
It probably wouldn't even be khaki for our Rangers if Danger hadn't favored shopping at thrift stores.
Right. I figured because it just matched the environment.
No,
Yes.
it's just because SF has some really great Army Navy stores, so you can get a lot of
we did.
EDUs and shit.
So, yeah, I mean, the color of the, it's a bright orange. And I remember there was a person who was bleeding, and I asked if they wanted to go to medical, and they flipped out. They're like, no. And they took off because they are under the assumption that they would have to pay for it.
Huh.
And that was my trainer said, yeah, just when you do mention that it's a free service, we will not charge you for it, but we can have you stop bleeding. It was a bloody nose. It looked like.
We live in a society here, not out there, but in here we take care of people.
So what I'm learning is that the South African medical system is very similar to ours.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Oh, you want to stay in the hospital? Oh. Let me see your bank account and your 4-digit PIN, please.
It's fucking madness.
But, I mean, the guy was afraid.
Of course.
And it was very interesting. Just the ways to approach people are completely different, but still level of kindness and generosity and match their tone and same level and all the same things. But there was just a little culture shock differences that I just found very, very interesting.
Did you find yourself challenged by your status as a foreign ranger?
No, because a lot of them were. A lot of them were.
And they
from
speak
different
English
burns.
down there.
Some of them.
They speak
If you can call it
7
that.
languages, pretty much. The average is 5 to 7 languages that people speak in South Africa.
Oof.
I'm like, yeah, our education system sucks. We can barely speak one.
We don't have the constant buffeting between different languages that certain continents have.
Oh, yeah.
It's weird. We took over almost one entire one.
Right.
But never learned Spanish.
I tried. I had 6 years. That's enough to know I can't learn it.
What was Afrika Burn like?
A lot smaller, which was wonderful.
Have they popped 10,000 yet, or are they still in the thousands?
Oh, no, they'd grown past that. They were at like 17, 18, and then they dipped below it because they decided to do a cutoff. They also moved locations. A location that is actually permanent. So some of the more, like the greeter bell is a permanent fixture.
Oh, cool.
That's pretty neat.
So it's always the same location because someone bought the property and leases it to them for like,
Elon Musk.
yeah.
See, it's a smaller event, so there's
Emerald
more
Mine.
Elon Musks per capita.
Like it was really beautiful. There was just the same amount of things per capita that Burning Man has, but because it's a smaller event, you actually got to do more. And you felt like you got more, same hours in the day, same days of the week, but because there is less to do, you felt like you had a fuller experience versus Burning Man. There's always those stories. Oh, did you ever check out that? Oh no, I never got out to the thing or the other, whatever.
Did you have the foursome with the 3 Elon Musks?
Is it texturally similar? Is it are people doing the same sorts of things?
The stage I was working at was really great because their crew lead, Cindy, really makes a concerted effort to focus her performance space towards Black artists in South Africa. So she goes to all the less economically vibrant towns and villages throughout South Africa and found artists and musicians and people and said, we will gift you this ticket. The deal is you perform on our stage, and you did. So it was like one of the largest concentrations of Black artistry. Very Afro jazz, Afro beats, and it was wonderful because even in South Africa, it's a very white event. And it's really important to her to keep that Afro flavor to everything that they do on her stage. And it was
good.
And people would walk by and go, what is that? And it was the best stuff. Like everything else, you had fun, but everyone gravitated over to Chalaz.
Cool.
Towards the end of the night. And it was quite fun. And everyone was so loving and so generous. Yeah. It was a wonderful, wonderful experience because I'm a worker. I don't party well. Like even if you threw a party, I'd have a good time for a couple hours and be like, cool, I'm done. I'm going home now. But if I'm hosting the party, I need to be working in order to have a good time because I need to help facilitate the good time. And when I'm overloaded, I'll go do dishes for a little bit and clean all the glassware. And
it's the best.
And I feel there's a greater entry to my personal enjoyment if I'm also on the crew. That helps make the thing happen. Mm-hmm. That's my excuse for, being poor. I'm like, I really enjoy it. If I could afford it without blinking, Burning Man or Africa Burn or any of those places, then maybe I'd think differently. But
I think your enjoyment is always increased if you get to be behind the curtain.
100%.
Like the first time I saw people perform on stage, I was just like, well, I'm doing that when I'm older. I was like 3, seeing my dad play in a funk band. And I was just like, well, if all these motherfuckers can be on stage, like I could be on stage. And I was right. And that was our friend, Snafu.
Oh, can I tell you guys a story about Snafu from this year?
Yes, please.
Because this was after we interviewed him. So we were both out on Playa really early, and this year we were figuring out how things were set up. And at one point, he was like, someone that he had been teaching to had gotten a role on Broadway, and they had reached out to him and been like, hey, would you audition as well? We really like the way this guy does Shakespeare. And so Snafu was doing a video voice recording and trying to get it out to his agent. On Playa, like when we don't have stable internet out where Snafu is living. And like the next morning I saw him and he looked a little dreary and I was like, is everything okay? Did you get it out? And he's like, it took 6 hours. But it has been submitted.
34 kilobytes at a time. Oh, good job, Snafu. I hope you get that role and I hope you never have to do Shakespeare ever again on Broadway or not.
He also, in regards to Snafu and this year, was essential in the opening ritual for Center Camp, and I really appreciated his participation. His Centersburg address.
Mm-hmm. He is a true showman.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry that I missed it. It sounded really neat.
It was pretty fun.
It was good. Thanks.
Yeah, Accuracy Third is produced by Accuracy Third.
Which is the 3 of us, Rex, D-Day, and Beth.
It is the 3 of us. And the music in this episode is by Late Bus, and the track is called Give Me Liberty or Give Me Bloop. Real good track. Thank you, Late Bus. If you are a musician or if you know musicians, please send us your music. If it's not too much all at once, we will use it as sound bed for an episode. And if you have Burning Man stories, which we all goddamn well know you do, you can hit us up at accuracythird@gmail.com and request an interview.
And if you are new to this show and you're wondering, Do I have Burning Man stories when I haven't been to Burning Man? Well, if you've been to some regionals, absolutely you do. If you're involved in the Burning Man community locally to where you live, absolutely you do. If you're just learning about Burning Man and thinking, hey, maybe this is something I want to get into, maybe give it a year. But then reach out. You'll have stories, I promise.
If you've never been to Burning Man or even to a regional event, but you have been to a party in a half-burnt-out warehouse, you also have stories for us and our new podcast project, Outrageous.
Oof.
Oh.
Yikes.
If other ways you can support us,
I really thought we'd settled on the Plur Chronicles.
other ways. Oh God.
A plur place for everyone.
Other ways you can support us is, hey, you know, your friends that want to talk about Burning Man stuff, you could recommend us to them.
You know that friend who will not stop fucking talking about the event and the default world? Back in the default.
They want to listen to us, I'm sure. And if you have extra money around, we pay for this all through the generous donations of our patrons.
And ourselves.
And our own money that we sink into it, because why not have another money-consuming hobby?
Yep.
I've got it. I've got the answer. It's terrible and obscure. Pluripotent.
I just...
Plurtus.
Oh, God. Listeners, they both picked up their phones to try to Google what the next joke was going to be.
I picked up my phone to see if anyone asked us for a playa name since Burning Man.
I picked up my phone to make sure that the word that my brain supplied was an actual word and not something that it turned
Just
sideways.
a random series of firings.
Pluripotent describes the ability of stem cells to become multiple cells in the body.
It's pretty good.
Just like how raves became
Okay, we don't have anyone who has requested a playa name, but if you are a patron and you have given us at least $5 during your life of patroning this podcast, we would like to offer you our high-quality, incredible, very pithy playa name experience, wherein we will send you a short survey. You will tell us like 4 things about yourself and send us pictures of your pets. And then we, live in the podcast studio, will come up with a playa name for you, which is then decidedly unlive after I edit the shit out of it and make us not sound like fucking cretins.
So good news to the couple of you who are giving it the nickel a month rate. You're almost there. Just 2 more years.
We will also fawn over your pets. Please send me pictures of your pets.
And please go to the link in the description to sign up for our Discord server. On that Discord, there is an entire community of Accuracy Third Discordians who are sharing stories about their lives and pictures about their pets and asking us questions that at some point in the next couple months, if not sooner than that, we will answer on a Burn Barrel episode of this podcast. You can literally ask us anything, and at the very least, we will joke about the question, if not answer it genuinely and thoughtfully, as we usually do.
Sometimes those questions are unanswerable.
I would like to point out that the Discord, hey, are you on Reddit and the Burning Man subreddit and are just like, fuck this bullshit? Oh my God, why is it like this? You could come on over to our Discord. There's a lot of people talking about like
problem solving, like kindly to each other.
And sweet intimacies. I mean, like a lot of the people that are on it are people who've recorded with us, and like they talk about problem solving out there. They help each other with solutions. They show swag, and they share like life details about the shit that they're going through to get out there. It's like,
and pictures of the cool art we're all making.
Yeah, and their pets.
And their pets.
And their pets. So if you would like a slightly more positive experience when chatting with folks around Burning Man than, you know, Reddit, feel free to come over to our Discord.
But if you are on the Burning Man Reddit or Facebook page and there's something outrageous and funny or interesting that we should be talking about on the podcast, please email us that as well. All of our social media interaction has dipped since the dark days of the pandemic. And if you find something that you think is worth us discussing, please send it our way. We can always use content for our Burn Barrel episodes, and the more information we have on the dock for those episodes, the more often the three of us will get together and chat Burning Man stuff. At some point, we're going to have a Burn Barrel where we talk about the box and the guy that was in the box.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Dickie box?
The Dickie box and the Dickie box documentary. We'll talk about that one of these days. We will talk about Spark, a Burning Man story, one of these days.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get Logan in here.
Or Dickie.
Or Dickie.
Yeah.
Listeners, if you do want to find us on social media, we have abandoned Facebook for the most part because fuck that place. And we're all the way off of Twitter because really fuck that place. But D-Day and I are both kicking it around on Blue Sky.
I'm lurking like a motherfucker.
And I'd love to see more Burning Man discussion on Blue Sky. I've got a feed searching for it and not a lot of people talking about the event on there. So burners, if you're hungry for a Twitter alternative, Blue Sky is getting better and better all the time.
It's so nice there.
It is very nice there.
It's like 2006, 2008 Twitter. It's great.
Yeah. And Drill is there, so you can get your Drill tweets without having to look at nonstop Nazi content.
It's so fucking bleak on Twitter now.
Oh, my God.
It's like it's unrecognizable from what it was before the takeover.
Thanks for listening, and see you next time.
Well,
goodbye.
That was a digression.
Bye. Good
Bye
night.
now.
Burning Man is important to you. Yes?
Burning Dan?
Daniel.
When
Daniel.
he needs it.
Yeah, Burning Dan? You know who I'm talking about? No. Okay, cool.
See you, guy.
He was, yes. Still is. He's just passed.
Burning Man is an important part of your life at this point in your life. Yes? True statement?
Yes. The people on my crew and the people on the teams that surround me are more important than the event itself. But because I see them mostly, especially those that live in South Africa and Austria and France and all those places, are Burning Man. Yes, Burning Man is important to me. But if I never went to Burning Man again, I don't think I'd cry for that long about it.
Okay, so that's sort of the follow-up is that why is Burning Man important to you? And
the people.
The people. Let me adjust that follow-up a little more.
What, are you trying to tell me I'm fired and I'm not coming this year?
I ain't your boss, baby.
He's our liaison.
Oh.
I'm just the guy that sends
We brought you here
emails.
through the guys.
He's your attaché.
Through this podcast. It's all a ruse. These microphones aren't even real.
Do you think that it's this specific group of people, or do you think that you would have found this kind of community in whatever it was you got involved with in the container of Burning Man?
I think it's these specific people. I would have found connection with other groups and other people 100%. But I think it's these specific people, and we have this beautiful mix of complete rays of sunshine, always a smile, beautiful, bright, happy people, to the crusty, snarky fuckers. And all of us live together and work together and annoy each other with our musical choices, but no one gets mad about it. And it's a brilliant group of people that I am very proud to have say that I've collected some of them. Some of them were here before me, but I think it's just a wonderful swatch. Swatch or swath? Swath.
A swatch
both of
is
them.
what used to be a very expensive watch in the 80s. And they're like at Target now for $7.
Of a thing that you might buy a lot more Fabrica.
It's a beautiful swath of humanity.
So for you, it's a found family situation.
Yeah. All for a common purpose. And because we're all the assholes who decide, hey, let's work the biggest thing of the year. Let's fucking work that shit. Yeah, we get some, gratitude perks out of it, but
kind of, but they're only to offset the fact that we're there for 3 weeks. Like, obviously, we need showers.
Right.
If you're there for a week, you don't need showers. If you're there for 3 weeks, your skin will rot off.
Right. But it's,
Flake off. Come on.
It's the people. It's 100% the people because, and yes, I've learned some really beautiful creative lessons out there, and I've learned not to take myself so seriously, that it's all temporary, mandala effect, all that, blah, 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 blah. But it's the people.
So
the people.
My second similar question, is Burning Man important?
As much as anything else is important, yes.
Why?
Sometimes in order to see an absolute truth about yourself, you need to break out of your daily routine. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And this is something unlike a vacation because it's fucking hard.
Hear, hear.
You know, you're not getting waited on. There are no menus. There's no room service. There's no privacy. There's no silence. There's no air freshener. And
there are air fresheners, but like we have to ask that it's okay that we take them all out of the porta potty. That is too small and hot a fucking space to be baking these air fresheners in. Every fucking year.
There is no air freshener is not a statement of truth. It's a statement of law. Fuck you, no air fresheners.
God damn it. But it's like Wednesday of setup week every fucking year, right after lunch. It's just like, what? Like I go in there to take my 4th out of 7 shits of the day. And just like oppressive fucking mint smell. New car gag.
Sidetrack. I have no idea what I was saying.
You were talking about how Burning Man creates the space in which to get out.
It makes you uncomfortable. It pushes you off your center axis, so that when you have to refine your balance, it's not the balance that you had when you walked in because the gravity's different. You know, your place in space and time is different because it's unlike any place in the world because you're not able to buy anything, unlike Coachella and Lightning in a Bottle and all these other places that you can still buy a $7 water in a Dixie cup.
$14 beer.
Or a $14 beer. Or, you know, you have to come completely self-contained as far as your needs go, but it will fuck you up. Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and I think people need that uncomfortability in order to find out what's really important. And since Burning Man is the way that happens, yes, anything can do that if you allow yourself to do it. It's just we need such a shove off the cliff, and Burning Man is that shove, you know, in order to make ourselves find that balance again. But at the same time, Burning Man is not fucking important at all. Burning Man is stupid. Yeah. Like, at the same exact time, both things can be equal at the same time. Like,
kind of. Burning Man is stupid how Dada is stupid.
Yeah.
But it's still like, I think it is maybe the most dumbly opulent art movement that exists or maybe has ever existed. It is tens of thousands of people a year doing a very specific city building as art enterprise. Like, how else have people made art that can't be shown in a venue or a museum or a theater or even like, you know, that sort of improv everywhere shit in a plaza? Like this is that so big it is inconceivable that a city can be art. But what if we did that?
Only one thing, and I'm going to say this word again, one external force has ever made me feel so purely as I do at Burning Man is that when I actually saw the completion of a mandala painting, the colored sand. Yeah. It was a lot of the monks, they had just finished it. I was lucky enough to see their closing ceremony. They chanted over it. They sang over it. They lifted the whole thing up. They were chanting. They walked and they dumped the whole thing in the river.
Yep.
Like, what? It was so stunningly simple and beautiful. The painting was so incredibly complex and gorgeous, but the act was just, it wasn't done with any reverence. I mean, it was reverence, but it wasn't done with any sense of importance because it's not important. It's impermanent. The impermanence is important. It's important for the moment, but now it's not important anymore.
Practicing the understanding of impermanence is like, that's a practice in and of itself.
And that's the other why I think Burning Man is important, but it's not important because it's impermanent.
Its import lies in how unimportant it is, how it is It's not done for any effect outside of itself.
Except for the people whose egos become intertwined with it, and then that's their identity, is they're a burner, or they're, you know what I mean?
Strong, man.
There's always that, if it encompasses your entire identity, and I guess that's okay. I don't understand identifying myself with just a one thing. I want to experience absolutely everything. I wouldn't take any of my experiences back. Mm-hmm. But if it went away, like if they're like, you don't have a team anymore, you're done. Thank you so much for your years of service, but we don't need you anymore. I'd be like, cool. I'd be sad for a minute, but I'd be like, cool. I have these 3 weeks in August. Where have I not been? Never been to Alaska. I'm going to drive to Alaska.
Alaska's far.
I know.
And when you get to it, it's big.
Well, I have a friend that lives there now, so I've always wanted to take that drive, that one road that goes from the continental U.S.
It's got to be intense.
And it's like, you have to stop at this gas station or you will run out of gas. You have to stop at this restaurant or you will run out of food.
You can do that on Highway 50 too, but you don't want to.
Right. So I think, also maybe part of my thing of not wanting to say that Burning Man is important is I don't want to be that dude, you know? So it's important, but it's not the be all and end all of all things. I think everyone should go once.
Yeah.
Just to experience that sort of self-actualization, or just to get out of your comfort zone enough, and maybe you'll have a dark night of the soul, because those are fucking important. To take a hard, cold look at yourself.
I think you really have to do that a couple times a year to stay healthy. You need to really assess like how you are, who you are, and how you interact with the world around you, and just make sure that you're keeping whatever specific equilibrium you and your brain need.
A lot of people say welcome home. I've never jived with that.
No?
Like, if you want to say it, say it. I will 100% support you. It's never really felt like something, so I started saying Happy New Year.
That resonates with me equally.
Right? I just, Happy New Year. Have a good New Year. And people are like, what? Because I think that's, when
It's
the
what
band
we're doing
burns,
out there. Yeah.
That's New Year's Eve. Because New Year's Eve is fucking amateur hour in most big cities.
Yes.
It's amateur hour. I don't go out. Like, there's too many amateurs on the road. Same thing with St. Patrick's Day nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
And July 4th. And Halloween.
Yeah.
Like, just, it's not a time to be driving or going to bars
it's amateur
or
hour
or anything.
Our culture doesn't know how to be drunk as celebration.
Right.
We don't handle our alcohol.
I will knock you the fuck down for saying that.
Yeah. Possible.
But I think that's, for me, Burning Man is my New Year's. It's my holiday. For other personal reasons, that the actual holiday that I grew up with in December is fraught with a lot of tragedy and sadness for my personal life. So I don't really celebrate that one for so many reasons. But
I just don't, because it's tacky.
yeah, but it's New Year's Eve. It's a nice way for me to reflect upon the past year of my life. That's my calendar year, is September through August. And yeah, it's Happy New Year. Great. It's a new year. It's also the industry that I'm in, the entertainment industry, take kind of the summer off. So the fall used to be when all the shows would ramp up again. So it kind of has just made sense. And all the schooling is September to blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so Happy New Year, everybody.